What if the very thing that feels like you are falling apart is actually the final confirmation that everything you have been building is about to arrive? What if the thoughts that just came rushing back, the ones you were sure you had already healed, the fears you thought you had outgrown months ago, the doubt that suddenly feels heavier than it has in a long time, what if none of that means what you think it means? What if you are not going backward at all? What if you are standing at the final gate? Let that land for a moment. Because there is something happening right now that almost nobody talks about honestly. There is a phase in transformation, a very specific phase where everything appears to collapse right before it comes together. Where the old mind gets louder, not quieter. Where the body tightens, not relaxes. Where the emotions you were certain you had released come flooding back with a force that makes you question whether any of the inner work you have done was ever real. And this is the moment where most people turn around. This is the exact point where the majority of people abandon the very path that was about to deliver them into a completely different life. Not because they were weak, not because they lacked commitment, but because they misread the signal. They interpreted the noise as evidence that they were failing, and so they stopped. Right at the edge, right at the threshold, right at the final gate. But you are still here, and the fact that you are still here, listening, searching, reaching for something deeper than the surface-level explanation, that tells me something. It tells me you are closer than you think. And what you need right now is not another technique. It is understanding. It is the ability to see what is actually happening inside you with enough clarity that you stop mistaking the last gasp of the old self for the voice of truth. So let us go there. Let us go into the architecture of what is really taking place when transformation gets loud, when the old patterns surge, when the mind produces its most convincing argument for why you should remain exactly who you have always been. Because once you see this clearly, once you truly understand the mechanics of what is happening at the level of the brain, the nervous system, the body, and the field of consciousness itself, you will never be fooled by this phase again. Right before a new reality appears, something disturbing often happens inside the mind. The old thoughts come back, but they do not come back softly. They do not whisper. They return louder than they have been in weeks, sometimes months. The fear you genuinely believed you had moved through suddenly speaks again with startling authority. The doubt you had not felt in what seemed like a long time returns with an intensity that feels almost personal, as if it knows exactly where to find you, exactly which wound to press, exactly which insecurity to activate. Thoughts you were certain were behind you begin rushing back into your awareness, as if they are making one final coordinated attempt to reclaim control of your inner world. And the timing of it is what makes it so disorienting, because it does not happen when you are stuck. It does not happen when you are stagnant. It happens precisely when you have been making real progress. It happens right after the breakthrough, right after the meditation that felt different, right after the day when something inside you genuinely shifted, right after you started to feel, for the first time in perhaps years, that a new version of your life was actually possible. And then the old voice returns, and it says something like this: "See, that feeling was not real. You were just imagining it. You are not actually changing. You are the same person you have always been. Go back to what you know. Stop pretending you can become something different. And because the timing is so precise, because the voice arrives at the exact moment you were starting to believe in the new, it feels devastating. It feels like proof. It feels like the universe is confirming your deepest fear, that the transformation was never real, that you were fooling yourself, that the old reality is the only one you will ever know. But here is what no one tells you about this moment. The reason the old thoughts get louder is not because they are getting stronger. It is because they are losing their grip. The reason the fear screams is not because danger is real. It is because the old identity is dying. And dying things do not go quietly. They thrash, they surge, they make one final, desperate bid for survival. And if you do not understand that this is what is happening, you will hand your power back to the very thing that was about to release you. This is one of the most important principles in all of transformation work, and it applies whether you approach it from the lens of neuroscience, psychology, spiritual practice, or quantum mechanics. The principle is this: resistance intensifies at the threshold, not in the middle, not at the beginning, at the threshold, at the final gate. If this is resonating with something deep inside you right now, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss what comes next. Let us understand why. Your brain is not designed for transformation. It is designed for continuity. The nervous system does not prioritize growth. It prioritizes prediction. It does not care whether you are happy. It cares whether it can anticipate what comes next. Because prediction equals safety in the language of the body. And safety, to the nervous system, is the highest priority there is. This means that every pattern you have ever repeated, every thought you have cycled through thousands of times, every emotional reaction you have rehearsed until it became automatic, all of it has been encoded into your neurology as familiar. And familiar to the brain means safe. Even when familiar means suffering, even when familiar means anxiety, self-doubt, emotional shutdown, chronic stress, or quiet desperation, the nervous system does not evaluate the quality of the pattern. It evaluates the predictability of the pattern. And if it is predictable, the body trusts it. If it is predictable, the system says, yes, I know how to survive inside this. This is why people stay trapped in emotional cycles for years, sometimes decades. The conscious mind wants change. The heart wants freedom. But the body, the nervous system, the deeply memorized chemical architecture of the old self, all of it is organized around preservation. Preservation of the known. Preservation of the familiar. Preservation of the identity that has been practiced so thoroughly that it no longer requires conscious effort to maintain. The old self is not just a story you tell about yourself. It is a system. It is a neurological, chemical, physiological system that has been reinforced through tens of thousands of repetitions. Every time you thought the same anxious thought, you strengthened a neural pathway. Every time you felt the same wave of unworthiness, you deepened a chemical groove. Every time you reacted with the same protective pattern, you told the nervous system, this is who we are. This is how we operate. This is what is real. And over time, those repetitions became so efficient that the brain could run them automatically. The old self stopped being something you chose. It became something that ran you. It became the default operating system of your entire internal world. So when you begin changing, when you start meditating differently, thinking differently, feeling differently, choosing differently, something very specific happens inside the body. The old system notices, not consciously, not intellectually, but biologically. The nervous system registers that the familiar chemical environment is shifting. The brain notices that the well-worn neural pathways are no longer being activated with the same frequency. The body senses that the emotional baseline it has been organized around for years is starting to dissolve, and the system reacts, not with celebration, not with encouragement, with alarm. Because from the perspective of the nervous system, you are not evolving, you are destabilizing. You are not growing. You are becoming unpredictable. And unpredictable to a system built on preservation registers as threat. This is the biological foundation of what most people experience as the return of old patterns. It is not failure. It is not regression. It is the old system mounting a defense. It is the previous identity activating every tool it has to pull you back into the known. And the most powerful tool it has is this. It makes the old thoughts feel true. I want to pause here and ask you something. When was the moment you first realized that the resistance you were feeling might actually be a sign of progress rather than proof of failure? Share that moment in the comments, because your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. Think about that for a moment. The old identity does not return and announce itself. It does not say, "Hello, I am your outdated fear pattern, and I am trying to prevent you from evolving." No. It returns wearing the mask of truth. It returns sounding like wisdom. It returns feeling like clarity. It says things like, "Be realistic." It says, "You are not ready for this." It says, "Who do you think you are?" It says, "Remember the last time you tried something like this and it did not work." And because these thoughts arrive with emotional charge, because the body tightens when they appear, because the chest constricts and the stomach drops, and the breath becomes shallow, the thoughts do not feel like old programming. They feel like honest assessment. They feel like the most sober, rational, grounded perspective you have had in weeks. But they are not truth. They are chemistry. They are the body's memorized emotional states generating thoughts that match the old identity. The feeling comes first. The thought follows. And because the feeling is so visceral, so physical, so real in the body, the thought inherits that realness. It borrows the authority of sensation. And suddenly, you are not just thinking an old thought. You are believing it. You are living inside it. You are collapsing back into the very identity you were in the process of leaving behind. This is the mechanism. This is how the old self preserves itself, not through logic, through chemistry, not through truth, through sensation. The body generates the familiar emotional state. The emotional state generates the matching thought. The thought deepens the emotional state, and the loop closes. You are back inside the old reality, not because it was real, because it was practiced. And here is where it gets even more important. This mechanism does not activate randomly. It activates most powerfully at the exact moment when the new identity is closest to stabilizing. The old system does not waste energy fighting you when you are dabbling. It does not mount its strongest defense when you are casually exploring change. It saves its most intense response for the moment when the shift is genuinely threatening to become permanent. This is why the final gate feels the hardest. This is why the last stretch of transformation is often the most brutal. Because the old identity is not fighting you from a position of strength. It is fighting you from a position of desperation. And desperation makes things loud. Desperation makes things convincing. Desperation makes things feel urgent and real and absolutely certain. But desperation is not truth. It is survival, and you need to learn the difference. Let me take you deeper into this. There is a concept in the study of complex systems that applies directly to what happens inside you during this phase. In systems theory, when a system is about to undergo a fundamental reorganization, there is often a period of increased instability right before the new order emerges. The old structure begins losing coherence. The patterns that held it together start breaking down, and during that breakdown, the system becomes temporarily more chaotic, more turbulent, more unpredictable than it was before. This is not a sign that the system is failing. It is a sign that the system is reorganizing at a higher level of complexity. The turbulence is not the problem. It is the transition. And the transition has to happen because the old arrangement can no longer sustain the energy that is moving through the system. Your consciousness works the same way. Your identity works the same way. When you have been doing genuine inner work, when you have been shifting your thoughts, your emotions, your energy, your attention, you have been introducing a new pattern into a system that was organized around the old. And at some point, the old organization can no longer hold. It begins to destabilize. And that destabilization feels, from the inside, like everything is falling apart. But falling apart and breaking through are often the same event experienced from different levels of awareness. From the perspective of the old self, it is catastrophe. From the perspective of the emerging self, it is liberation. The question is, which perspective are you watching from? And this is where your awareness becomes the most important factor in the entire process. Because the thoughts will come. The sensations will come. The old fears, the old doubts, the old stories, they will all make their final appearance. That is not optional. That is not something you can skip. It is built into the architecture of transformation itself. The question is never whether the old self will speak again. The question is whether you will still believe it when it does. Pause with that. Because this is the real test. This is the actual gate. It is not a test of whether you can prevent old thoughts from arising. That is not within your control, and it never was. The test is whether, when those thoughts arise, you still hand them the authority to define your reality. The test is whether you can feel the old sensation move through the body and not collapse into the story it is trying to tell. The test is whether you can stand in the fire of the old identity's final protest and remain anchored in the knowing that you are not that voice. You are the awareness that hears it. This is what separates the people who break through from the people who break down at this stage. It is not strength in the way most people understand strength. It is not willpower. It is not forcing the old thoughts to be quiet. It is something much more subtle and much more powerful. It is recognition. It is the ability to recognize the old pattern for what it is in the very moment it is trying to convince you that it is something else. When the fear arises and you can say, "I see you, I know what you are," you are the old identity making its last stand. Something extraordinary happens. The thought ouses upon its charge, not immediately, not dramatically, but meaningfully. Because a thought only has power over you when you believe it is you. The moment you see it as a pattern, as a neurological habit, as a chemical echo of a self you are in the process of outgrowing, it becomes something you are witnessing rather than something you are being. And that shift from being to witnessing is the entire transformation. This is what the great contemplative traditions have pointed toward for thousands of years, and it is what modern neuroscience is beginning to confirm. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are not the sensations that move through your body. You are the field of awareness in which all of those phenomena arise. And when you learn to rest in that field, when you learn to observe the old patterns without merging with them, the patterns begin to lose their ability to regenerate. Because here is the secret. The old identity cannot survive without your participation. It needs you to believe the thought. It needs you to react to the sensation. It needs you to engage with the story. Without your attention, without your emotional investment, without your identification, the old self has no fuel. It is like a fire that requires oxygen. Your belief is the oxygen. And the moment you withdraw belief, not through suppression, not through denial, but through clear seeing, the fire begins to die. This is why the old self gets so loud at the end. It is trying to force your attention. It is trying to provoke a reaction. It is trying to generate enough emotional intensity that you involuntarily engage with it one more time. Because one more engagement might be enough to restart the loop. One more moment of believing the fear might be enough to collapse you back into the old timeline. And this is exactly why understanding this process is so critical. Because when you understand it, you stop being surprised by it. You stop being devastated by the return of old thoughts. You stop interpreting the intensity as failure. Instead, you begin to see it for what it truly is. The final test, the last gate. The old self's desperate, beautiful, terrified attempt to survive. And there is something almost compassionate about seeing it this way. Because the old self is not evil. It is not your enemy. It is a pattern that kept you alive. It is a structure that helped you navigate a world that once felt overwhelming, dangerous, confusing. The anxiety was trying to protect you. The self-doubt was trying to keep you from taking risks that might have hurt you. The emotional guardedness was trying to prevent you from being wounded again. These patterns were not born from malice. They were born from survival. And they served you, in their way, for as long as you needed them. But you do not need them anymore. And the fact that they are screaming right now is not evidence that you still need them. It is evidence that you have outgrown them. It is evidence that you are ready for something they cannot provide. And they know it. On some deep, systemic level, they know their time is ending. Tell me in the comments, what is the one old pattern or belief that has been the loudest for you recently? The one that keeps trying to convince you it is still true, even though you know you have outgrown it. So what do you do with this understanding? How do you actually navigate the final gate without collapsing back into the old reality? The first thing is this. You stop making the old thoughts mean something about your progress. This is perhaps the most damaging interpretation people carry through this phase. They think that the return of old patterns means the work is not working. They think that feeling fear again means they have not healed. They think that one bad day, one intense wave of doubt, one night of old anxiety, erases everything they have built. It does not. It does not erase anything. A wave does not erase the ocean. A cloud does not erase the sky. The temporary appearance of old weather inside your consciousness does not undo the fundamental shift that has been taking place beneath the surface. The shift is still there. The new neural pathways are still forming. The new emotional baseline is still developing. The new identity is still emerging. One wave of old thought does not reverse that process any more than one cold day reverses the coming of spring. But if you believe it does, if you interpret the wave as evidence that spring is not coming, you will act accordingly. You will stop doing the things that were creating the change. You will abandon the meditation. You will abandon the new way of thinking. You will collapse back into the old emotional habits because you have convinced yourself that they were the truth all along. And the old self wins. Not because it was right, because you believed it was. So the first practice at the final gate is simply this. Do not assign meaning to the noise. Let it be noise. Let it be loud. Let it be uncomfortable. But do not let it become your narrator. Do not let it tell you a story of who you are. You are not the noise. You are the silence underneath it. And that silence has not gone anywhere. The second thing, and this is where it becomes deeply practical, is that you must learn to work with the body during this phase. Because as we have explored, the old identity does not operate through thought alone. It operates through the body. It operates through chemistry. It operates through sensation. And if you only try to change your thoughts without addressing what the body is doing, you will find yourself in an exhausting mental battle that the old self is very good at winning. The body holds the old identity in place through memorized emotional states. Stress stored in the shoulders, anxiety held in the chest, grief locked in the belly, hypervigilance wired into the muscles of the jaw, the neck, the lower back. These are not metaphors. These are measurable, physiological patterns that the body has been rehearsing for years, sometimes decades. And when the old identity mounts its final defense, it does not just send thoughts. It activates the body. It tightens the chest. It shortens the breath. It floods the system with the same stress hormones that have been associated with the old emotional state for as long as you can remember. And suddenly, the thought is not just a thought. It is a full-body experience. It is a felt reality. And that is what makes it so convincing. So the practice here is not to fight the sensation. It is to stay with it, to breathe into it, to feel it fully without attaching a story to it. Because the sensation itself is not dangerous. It is just energy moving through the body. It is just the old chemistry expressing itself one more time. And if you can stay present with it, if you can feel the tightness without believing the narrative it is trying to generate, something remarkable happens. The sensation completes itself. It moves through. It releases. And the body learns something new. It learns that it can feel the unfamiliar without dying. It learns that the absence of the old chemistry is not a threat. It learns that safety can exist in a new form. Not the safety of the known, but the safety of presence. This is how the nervous system rewires. Not through force, not through suppression, through experience, through the lived, embodied experience of feeling something uncomfortable and discovering that you survive it, that you are still here, that the world did not end, that the sensation passed and you are still breathing, and something inside you is actually more open, more spacious, more free than it was before the wave arrived. Every time you do this, Every time you feel the old activation and choose presence over reaction, you are weakening the old neural pathway and strengthening the new one. You are teaching the body a new definition of safety. You are proving to the nervous system that the unfamiliar is survivable. And over time, with enough repetition, the body stops defending the old identity. Because it no longer needs to, because it has found something more stable than the old pattern. It has found you. The aware, present, conscious you that does not need the old story to feel safe. This is the deeper meaning of the final gate. It is not just a mental test. It is a somatic initiation. It is the body being asked to let go of the only form of safety it has ever known and trust something it has never experienced before. And that is terrifying for the nervous system. Genuinely terrifying. Not because the new is dangerous, but because the new is unknown. And the body has been programmed to equate unknown with unsafe. So have compassion for yourself during this phase. Have compassion for the body that is trying to protect you in the only way it knows how. Have compassion for the nervous system that is doing exactly what it was designed to do, and then gently, firmly, lovingly, choose the new anyway. Not by fighting the old, by being present with it, by witnessing it, by breathing through it, by letting it express without letting it decide. There is a third dimension to this that we need to explore, and it is perhaps the most subtle and the most powerful. It has to do with the field, with the quantum dimension of reality, with the relationship between your internal state and the external world that is organizing around it. When you change your internal state, when you shift the electromagnetic signature of your heart, when you alter the frequency of your thoughts and emotions, you are not just changing your inner experience, you are changing your relationship with the field of possibility itself. Every thought you think generates an electrical signal. Every emotion you feel generates a magnetic field. Together, they create an electromagnetic broadcast that interacts with the quantum field, the field of infinite potential, from which all physical reality emerges. This is not mysticism. This is measurable. The heart generates the strongest electromagnetic field in the body, and that field extends several feet beyond the physical form. When you change the emotional state of the heart, when you move from fear to coherence, from doubt to trust, from contraction to openness, you literally change the signal you are sending into the field. And the field responds, not because it is magical, because it is responsive. Because at the quantum level, the observer and the observed are not separate. The act of observation, the act of holding a specific internal state, influences the probability of what manifests. So when you have been doing this work, when you have been shifting your state, aligning your thoughts and emotions with a new reality, you have been sending a new signal into the field, and the field has been responding. New possibilities have been organizing. New synchronicities have been forming. New pathways have been opening. Not visibly, not yet, but at the level of probability, at the level of quantum potential, the new reality has been assembling itself in response to the new signal. And then the old self surges, the old thoughts return, the old emotions flood the body, and in that moment, the signal changes, the broadcast shifts, the electromagnetic signature reverts to the old pattern, and the field responds to that too. The new possibility that was forming begins to destabilize. The synchronicities that were aligning begin to scatter. The emerging reality that was just about to cross the threshold into physical manifestation begins to dissolve. This is why the final gate matters so much. This is why the last test is the most important one. Because at this stage, the new reality is not far away. It is right here. It is at the edge of manifestation. It is one sustained signal away from becoming your lived experience. And the old self knows this. On some level, the old identity can feel the proximity of the new. And that is precisely why it mounts its most intense resistance at this exact moment. Because if it can get you to change the signal now, if it can get you to revert to the old emotional state for long enough, the emerging reality collapses and the old timeline continues. What we have touched on today, the way your broadcast shifts, the way the old signal fights to reassert itself at the threshold, this is only the surface of a much deeper system. If you are ready to understand the complete architecture of conscious transmission, from breaking free of survival static to embodying the master frequencies that reshape your field from the inside out, I explore all 9 frequencies and the step-by-step practices for moving from unconscious broadcasting to becoming the broadcast itself in my book, Beyond the Frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery. It is linked in the pinned comment below. Feel the weight of that. Feel how much is at stake in these moments. Not in a way that creates pressure, in a way that creates clarity. Because when you understand what is actually happening, when you see that the old self is not returning because you failed, but because you are on the verge of succeeding, everything shifts. The noise does not disappear, but it loses its authority. The fear does not vanish, but it stops being your compass. The doubt does not evaporate, but it stops being your decision maker. And you hold the signal. You hold the new state. Not perfectly, not without trembling, not without moments of uncertainty, but you hold it. You breathe into it. You choose it again and again and again. Not because it is easy, because you finally understand what is happening. Because you finally see that this is the test. This is the gate. And you are not going backward. You are being asked one final time, who do you choose to be? Let that question move through you. Not as an intellectual exercise, as a lived inquiry. Who do you choose to be in this moment? When the old voice is loud and the new voice is quiet. Who do you choose to be when the body is tight and the mind is racing and every memorized instinct is telling you to retreat to the familiar? Who do you choose to be when the evidence of the senses says nothing has changed and the knowing in your heart says everything is about to? This is the gate, and you do not pass through it by being perfect. You pass through it by being aware, by seeing clearly, by choosing consciously, by staying present with what is, without collapsing into what was. There is a practice that can anchor this understanding in your body, and I want to offer it to you now, not as a technique to be performed mechanically, as an experience to be entered into fully. Find a moment of stillness. It does not have to be long, even 60 seconds. Close your eyes if it feels right, and bring your attention to the center of your chest. Not your thoughts about your chest. Your actual felt sense of the space in and around your heart. Breathe into that space. Slowly, deeply, not forcing anything. just allowing the breath to move into the area of the heart, as if you are filling it with attention, with presence, with warmth. And as you breathe, notice what arises. Maybe it is tension. Maybe it is emotion. Maybe it is a thought that says, "This is pointless," or "You should be doing something else," or "This will not work." Notice that thought. See it. And then gently return to the breath. Return to the heart. Return to the felt sense of being here, now, in this body, in this moment. And as you rest in that space, ask yourself quietly, not with urgency, not with demand, but with genuine curiosity. What would it feel like to trust that the new is already forming? What would it feel like in your body to know, not hope, not wish, but know that the transformation is real, that the old self is dissolving, that the new reality is closer than it has ever been? Do not try to manufacture the feeling. Just ask the question and let the body respond. Let whatever arises, arise. Let whatever moves, move. Let whatever releases, release. Because in this moment, you are not fighting the old self. You are not pushing against the resistance. You are doing something far more radical. You are choosing to inhabit the new state before the external evidence confirms it. You are choosing to feel the reality you are creating before it has fully materialized. And that choice, that willingness to feel a new while the old is still present, that is the act that collapses the wave function. That is the act that tells the field, "This is who I am now." That is the act that carries you through the final gate. And when you open your eyes, the world may look the same. The circumstances may not have changed yet. The old thoughts may still be faintly humming in the background. But something inside you will be different. Something will have shifted. Not because you forced it, because you allowed it. Because you stayed present long enough for the body to learn that the new is safe. And that learning, that somatic, cellular, nervous system level learning, is what makes the transformation irreversible. This is the truth that lives at the heart of everything we have explored today. You are not going backward. The return of old thoughts is not proof of failure. The intensity of the resistance is not a measure of how far you have fallen. It is a measure of how close you are to breaking free. The old self does not scream when you are standing still. It screams when you are walking away from it. It screams when you are at the threshold. It screams when the new reality is so close that the old one can feel its own dissolution approaching. And you, the one who is listening to this, the one who has felt that scream, the one who has wondered in the dark hours of the night, whether any of this is real, you are not lost. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are at the final gate. And the only thing between you and the life that is trying to emerge through you is your willingness to stop believing the last lie the old self tells. Consider sharing this with someone you know who is in the middle of their own transformation right now. Someone who might be mistaking the noise for the truth. When you share something like this, you are not just passing along a video. You are sending a signal into the field that reinforces your own understanding while opening a doorway for someone else. That single act of sharing creates a ripple that accelerates the shift for both of you. The lie is always the same. It says, "This is who you really are." But it is not who you really are. It is who you have been. And who you have been is not who you have to remain. You have been practicing a new way of being. You have been building new neural pathways. You have been generating new emotional states. You have been sending a new signal into the field. And all of that work, every meditation, every moment of awareness, every conscious choice to respond differently, all of it is still here. All of it is still active. All of it is still creating. The wave of old thought did not erase it. The wave of old thought was the evidence that it is working. Read that again in your mind. The wave of old thought was the evidence that it is working. The old self does not fight what is not threatening it. It does not mobilize against a change that is not real. The very fact that the resistance appeared, the very fact that it was intense, the very fact that it felt like the most convincing argument the old mind has ever produced, that is your confirmation. That is your sign. Not that you are failing, that you are at the gate. And now you know what the gate looks like. Now you know what it feels like. Now you know that it is not a punishment, and it is not a regression, and it is not the universe telling you that you are unworthy of the life you have been envisioning. It is the final exam, and the answer to every question on that exam is the same. Stay present. Stay aware. Stay in the new state. Stay with the breath. Stay with the heart. Stay with the knowing that lives beneath the noise. Because on the other side of this moment, on the other side of this last wave of resistance, is everything you have been aligning with. Not as a distant hope, not as a someday possibility, as a lived, breathed, embodied reality that has been forming in the field, waiting for you to hold the signal long enough for it to materialize. You are not going backward. You are being tested at the final gate. And the fact that you are still here, the fact that you did not turn around, the fact that something in you recognized that the old voice was not the truth, that is the answer. That is the proof. That is the moment the old self loses and the new self is born. Breathe into that. Let it settle into your bones. Let it become something your body knows, not just something your mind understands. And then carry it with you into the next moment of doubt, into the next wave of old thought, into the next time the body tightens and the mind races and the old story tries to reclaim you. Carry this knowing like a flame in your chest. You are not going backward. You are at the gate, and you are walking through. If something in this message found you at exactly the right moment, if it named something you have been feeling but could not articulate, let that be your confirmation. Leave a word below, whatever word arises, whatever captures what this stirred in you. And if you have not yet joined this community, if you have not yet chosen to walk this path with others who are navigating the same threshold, subscribe now. Not for content, for resonance, for the reminder, the next time the old self gets loud, that you are not alone in this, that what you are experiencing is not failure, that the gate is real, and that you are ready to walk through it. Now that you understand the mechanics of the final gate, go deeper into what your nervous system is already sensing by watching your timeline is shifting right now, and your nervous system already knows. That video reveals exactly how your body registers the shift before your mind catches up, and it will give you the awareness to stay anchored as your new reality locks in.